Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got another Daincast coming at ya. And this time we've got a game from a clanmate of mine, Senior Baumesbaum, a high-level Protoss player. And when I say high-level, I mean, you know, low to mid-masters Protoss player, but I respect him as a good player. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our Zerg player, Synd, from the Alpha X clan. I know we've had a few clan wars against these guys. They're a good team. We've got some very strong players. This will be around the 4600 MMR mark, I presume. So Bombs is opening up here with a gateway, then a forge. So it looks like there's going to be some kind of a cannon rush going on here. The gateway and then forge variant allows you to get a very fast robotics bay. But Bombs is being pretty careful with this probe here. He's not giving away that he's doing a cannon rush too quickly. And looks like Synd has sent his second overlord to this base. So I think Bombs is going to put a pylon down here to fake it as though he's doing a hatch block. So he's going to wait until his probe is at low health here, and then he's going to put his pylon down for the hatch block. This player has already gone for a very early pool, though. I don't know how I missed that. This is probably a 12 pool. That's why he's only on 13 drones. So we made one drone afterwards. And so he's already got 6 lings marching across the map towards Bombs' base. So not a great situation for Bombs to be in. And this Zerg player has ignored the hatch block and instead has gone for his close by air third. So Bombs is actually in a pretty good position to defend this because he was going for this forge rush. He can actually get this cannon out in time to completely block this off. But he's not in the greatest position because he does have, he does have his cybernetics core coming up. So his tech isn't going to be too delayed. And he is going to be able to get this base down. Along with blocking this might set him up into a position for a good timing earlier on. So these Zerglings are now pretty much useless. They can come back and kill this pylon, which will be a little bit annoying for Bombs, but it'll set up Synd to take his fast 3 bases. No problem whatsoever. And Synd's got an overlord in Bombs' base, and since Bombs hasn't made a stalker yet, he can pretty much just leave him here and spot whatever he's going to do. Bombs starting off with an adept here, realizing that he's going to need to get some scouting done. He does have this probe alive, but he's not going to last for very long. He does put a cannon down with this probe just to be a little bit more annoying, but it's going to get forced down. I don't even know. Did he get the cancel there? So Synd ends up taking this base fairly quickly. So Synd's up on a comfortable 3 bases where Bombs is only on 2, which is definitely what you want to be as a Zerg player. And so actually this game is looking like it's going to transition into a fairly standard macro game from this point. Bomb's sending his single adept out on the map, and the Zergling's not quite being able to trap it, so he is going to get away here and get a little bit more scouting information done. Synd would love to deny this scout, but he is going to spot that there is a third here. And these lings are just looking around, trying to stop this adept from doing any damage, but they'll need to surround him, and he's constantly running away and shading, so he's not going to be able to get surrounded here. The Zerglings are around the same speed as this adept. They are nibbling. They're a little bit faster, so they're getting some nibble damage done on him. But as long as he shades away, he doesn't actually take any health damage here because the Zerglings stop chasing him. So a little bit strange on that from the Zerg player to not actually keep the nibbles going. He was just about to do some health damage on him, but it's not the end of the world. Now, Bombs has ended up making a Zealot to block his wall, and he's got 2 adepts sorting across the map. Obviously, it's much more dangerous to have 2 adepts than 1 adept because they can one-shot Zerglings and drones. So 2 is kind of your magic number as a Protoss player. So he's going to dive in here and see if he can do a little bit of harassment. There's only 1 queen in position here, and the Zerglings are a little bit out of position, but they're actually they're close enough that they're definitely going to be able to get some done. But look at this, the drone transfer gets caught out by Bombs, and now he's whittling away at these Zerglings. So there's only still 6 Zerglings now, but he actually killed 2. So Synd ended up making 2 more, but he doesn't have Zergling speed yet, so he's in a little bit of an awkward position. Meanwhile, the Adept's shading into the main now, and they're actually doing a fair amount of damage. How many workers are killed here? For Bombs, 5 workers, and only going up. This Queen not focusing the low health Adept, and these Adepts are just circling around, killing whatever drones they can find. As long as Bombs realizes this, he could get a few more. It looks like he queued a few up and then looked away. So he did end up getting 8 drone kills with the 2 Adepts in the end, which is not too bad at all. That's about how many drones you would expect with an Oracle. So just investing 2 Adepts in there, doing a little bit of run by. Yeah, that took Bombs a little bit of micro in there, but he ends up getting his Twilight and Robo up, and he's even killing this Overlord with the Stalker. So Synd does have the full scout on what Bombs is doing. Bombs only up to 4 gates here. So this looks like it could definitely be a fairly early Glaive Adept attack here. He's chronoing out. The Overlord does see the chrono, which implies that this is either a Marjorie build or a Glaive Adept timing. And in either of these, you're going to want to get some roaches. So he does have his Roach Warren down, and he is going to be producing many roaches as soon as that begins. But he's only on 42 workers, so it's not that bad for Bombs. It's not like he was able to go through the early game and get up to 60 workers and then start making roaches. So he's only on 46 workers to Bombs' 40, but Bombs definitely needs to do a little bit of damage here. He's got 2 Adepts into the Warp Prism, and they do get saved from those Zerglings, which is nice for him. And he's going to be looking to do either a big all-in here or take a 3rd base, and it doesn't seem clear right now what Bombs is planning on doing. It looks like he's just going to focus on getting this Warp in here, and then trying to put some pressure on, maybe while taking a 3rd base. I think if he were on an all-in, he would be making more than these 4 gateways. So it's difficult for this Zerg player to even warp in, but he's still skipping. No, he does have speed at this point. It just looks like he doesn't. So now Bombs is microing his little heart out, trying to make sure that these Adepts stay alive, but he doesn't even have a safe warp-in zone for these Adepts. So they don't have an LZ. It's like a Vietnam where your landing zone is surrounded by enemy troops, and there's not actually a safe place for them to land and even begin this attack. So really nicely deflected from Synd, but he does end up Bombs does end up taking his 3rd base here, leaving a nice little gap here for his Adepts. And Bombs finally able to get a warp in, but the roaches are already here, so it's going to be very difficult for Bombs. He is going to finish this shade in the natural of Synd. Not the best decision there, considering he's going to be completely surrounded and killed off. But he does warp in 4 more Adepts. He's going to lose this Warp Prism if only Synd focuses it down, but it looks like he's not. Oh, he does in the end. So Bombs really not getting a lot done here, and Synd has gone up to 56 workers to Bombs' 49. So not a great position for Bombs to be in, and I'd especially be scared about this Zergling counterattack. So Bombs does transition into getting his +1 and his charge upgrade. He makes another Warp Prism, and he's walled off here. So it looks like he's safe for the moment from the Zerglings, but these Zerglings could just turn around and kill this 3rd base without any major issues. So this is definitely an awkward position for Bombs, and he doesn't even realize, this happens to me all the time, he doesn't actually have this walled off. Meanwhile, the Zerglings are just going to focus down this base, and if these shield batteries finish up, he'll be able to heal it and actually save this. This is actually a big blunder from the Zerg player if Bombs decides to heal it, which he does. So now the Zerglings get cleaned up, and Bombs keeps his 3rd base alive, only barely, but there are a few Ravagers here. They're going to launch a bile, but even they are going to get killed here. So really nice play from Bombs to have these static defenses build up at his 3rd, and he manages to save it with how many hit points? 38 hit points left on this Nexus. The Zerg does have a fairly large army out on the map, 32 to 26 army supply though, so he's traded a lot of his Zerglings for this base, and this is the worst scenario for you. He traded all these Zerglings, but he doesn't actually get the kill on the Nexus. Now the Zerglings are flanking around. They want to focus this down, but as long as Bombs is aware of this, he probably won't lose this Nexus, but it is still very low, and his army is moving out of position. He has no idea about this counterattack. There's not that much energy left on this shield battery, so he is going to lose this 3rd base. So now in the end, it does pay off for Synd to have killed this. So now Bombs is in a very all-in position. He does have his +1 finishing and an extra 4 gateways, so he's going to need to attack and do a lot of damage with this, because the Zerg has gone up to 4 bases, and he's not droning as much as he probably could. You can see the impact of him making those Zerglings to do that counterattack. He stayed on a relatively low economy here as well, so a lot of Banelings being morphed in, so it looks like the Zerg is going to be going on mostly Ravager Baneling, which as we know is a terrifying composition to go against as a Protoss player. It's a very explosive composition with a lot of AoE and a lot of ways to just end the Protoss army if you get caught out in the wrong position. And Bombs doesn't have Storm, only a few Archons with this army. He's going to move out. He has his Observer, he has his Warp Prism, so he's in a decent position here. And the Synd is going to try and do a counterattack, and since Bombs has left his wall open, he is going to get the Zerglings running right in. He does get a surround with the probes, and he's probably going to clean this up at the cost of quite a few workers, but at this point, Bombs is all in anyway. He doesn't mind a few workers here and there, as long as he doesn't lose this Warp Prism. The push is going down, and he does get a few creep tumors, so he's going to start pushing back this creep and creating an interesting spot for him to push, but not if this Archon gets completely suicided. A little bit of a mistake there from Bombs. He doesn't even manage to save it. Now the Zerg is running back. Oh my goodness, what are these players doing? They're both walking past each other like two ships in the night, and Bombs does get his army split in half and much of it is destroyed by these Banelings. An absolute disaster for Baumesbaum. He does have, at the end here, because of these upgrades, a decent trade-off, and the Ravagers get caught out. So the Banelings are all gone, and now we've just got a million Overlords and Ravagers all in front of this Archon, and Archon is just having an absolute field day with this. And especially if these Archons clump up, this Archon is just going to do work on these Overlords, and now this is going to actually be really annoying for the Zerg player, and the drones get pulled, and this is the Zerg on its last legs here. I mean, I don't know how this went as well for Bombs as it did. Maybe he just detonated too many Banelings, but unbelievable win from Baumesbaum, pulling this out of the hat. I'm still not even sure what happened there, but apparently he knew something that I didn't, and he managed to edge out the Zerg in that game, so well played from Baumesbaum.